All right, guys, we back in that action. Is yours truly, Mr. Justin Prater, out here in Fort Worth, Texas, with my good buddy Gordon Lewis out there in the majestic Lubbock, Texas. Scene Busters podcast, guys. We're about to break down these trades that happened today in the NFL. So we
Lots of
got
big news.
big,
Lots of
big
big
moves,
ones.
big juicy
Big.
moves.
These are called big brain moves. Some people were
Yeah,
out here playing chess. Some were playing checkers. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. Miami's making some moves. I'm gonna let you know that
Chess
right now.
moves. Big brain chess moves.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna be looking at some stuff here off of CBS, just so if y'all want to check it out, they got the trade up here on CBS NFL. So basically, what's gonna happen here is Miami is gonna trade the number 3 overall pick to San Francisco for the number 12 overall pick from San Francisco. They're also going to pick up a 2022 first round, a 2022 third round, and a 2023 first round. So they're getting 3 first round picks from this. Miami is to move back from 3 to 12. Okay, so what this means is that San Francisco is coming up for a quarterback, don't you think, bud?
Gotta be.
I mean, do you give up that much to not go get a quarterback?
I can't think of another player important enough to give up that much for.
Right. Okay. So I just want to get it clear because I've been seeing out there on the interwebs and Twitter that people are going, hold on. Maybe they're not going to get a quarterback. And
I would believe that, except they actually came out and said Jimmy G was their guy.
Yeah.
That's
right.
dead giveaway. Like at that point, I was like,
Nail.
oh, so you're definitely getting a quarter. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
Jimmy, I hope you didn't really like San Francisco.
Yeah. Carson Wentz was the Eagles guys, just like
Yeah.
a few months
Hey,
ago,
by the way, yeah, let's not forget when he got, ousted. He was supposed to be the guy still.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can clearly say we're going to clear up that San Francisco is not giving up 3 first round picks to move up to not take their future quarterback. They're probably aiming at Fields, I would imagine.
I think that's a good pick. And I will tell you, if they take somebody other than Fields, or other than a quarterback, I'll even take any quarterback in that position.
Surprised.
I would be highly surprised. But if they take anybody other than a quarterback, you guys are going to know, because that's going to be all anybody talks about, that they gave up so much to go get anybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So I think another thing that's interesting here is that if you remember, Robert Saleh was the San Francisco DC. He is now the Jets head coach. The Jets pick it too. And for Miami to make a move like this, they might have a little inside baseball with what the Jets are planning to do. Because if Robert Saleh is like, hey, we're taking Wilson. We know the Jags are taking Trevor Lawrence, and we're taking Wilson. And if San Francisco had that knowledge beforehand, they say, okay, we know we can go up and get Fields right here if we want Fields, or they might want Mac Jones. We don't know, or Trey Lance. But I imagine it's Justin Fields, in my opinion. So that's a little interesting thing that they probably have a little inside in with what the Jets are going to be doing with Robert Saleh moving over there. Because I'm sure, they're on the opposite sides of the country. They're in different conferences. I'm sure Robert Saleh probably didn't mind telling them that, hey, we're looking at probably taking Zach Wilson. So, or Fields, the Jets might want Fields, and then San Francisco knows they can get Wilson, whatever. But so what this means, San Francisco's going quarterback hunting. And I think if I'm San Francisco, it also makes a lot of sense because, Gordon, if you remember, the new TV deal kicks in for the NFL in a couple of years, right?
Correct.
And we're expecting the salary cap to hit 240, 250 million. Now,
skyrocket, essentially.
If you're the San Francisco 49ers and you're sitting here going, okay, we have a pretty good roster. We just went to the Super Bowl. We had a real good roster this past year, but we had a lot of injuries, but we still consider our roster. Injuries. Yeah, we consider our roster to be pretty good, right? So what if we could get the 3rd overall pick at quarterback? We get 5 years of him. And in 2 years, when the salary cap is $250 million, that we're paying our quarterback $8 million. And imagine what we can do with all that cap space when we're paying what we hope will be our franchise quarterback at the time on his rookie deal. The third slot, the third pick, overall pick, gets slotted about a $32 million contract for the first 4 years, right?
Right. I think it's 32, yeah.
They get a 5th round option also on him. But, they get like 20 something million guaranteed, but basically it's 32 million over 4 years. So there might be a little more cap hit later in the contract versus earlier, but average you're going to be about 8 million a year.
Yeah,
And
somewhere in
so
that range. Yeah.
imagine the team that you can build around if you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Imagine what you can do when the cap is 240 million and you're paying your all-star quarterback 8
Yeah, that's huge. It's huge.
versus
I think it's a again big brain moves. Like I really do think this is a good move by San Francisco because I do think they have a fantastic roster. I know a lot of people could say some things about them, but look, last year they had a lot of injuries. I mean, they dealt with injuries from the get go. It was
yeah.
just how many running backs did they have last year? Like
Yeah, they went through
30,
them. Mm-hmm.
and every one of them performed pretty well, which tells you that the offense is solid.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yep.
you don't have a fourth, fifth, sixth, 12th string running back doing anything in the NFL unless you have a decent offensive line, unless you have a good game plan. Like all these
Yeah.
things have to fall into place. And we know they weren't getting a lot out of Jimmy G last year. Not his greatest year. Uh not 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 a great year for the big names of San Francisco. A lot of injuries though. I think it's a big brain move for them, and I really like it going forward.
Yeah. Think about they lost their all pro tight end. They lost their all pro defensive end.
Yep.
They lost numerous people on defense. They lost running backs after the other after the other. It's like one would get healthy and then another one would get hurt. And then
Yeah, it
so
was bad. It was bad.
and they even lost their wide receivers going, Debo Samuel was hurt most of the year. And
Oh my gosh. When he was healthy though, he was a savage.
yeah, and their
Like
other
that's the thing is
receivers were
like
hurt all year too.
that's
It
the
was a
thing.
mess.
When these guys were healthy, each one of these players was fantastic
Mm-hmm. So the
when they were
roster's there.
healthy. I think the roster is there, and that's why I said I think this is a big brain move
Yeah.
because I think really and truly the roster's good.
Yeah.
Scary good, actually, I would even say. But I think that a lot of injuries plagued them last year.
And I think looking ahead to how the cap came down to about, I think it's 185 or
I think it's
186 this year.
185, something like that.
Okay. Usually they were expecting, if it wasn't for the pandemic, it'd be around 200. But when it'll probably be 200 next year, and then the new money
Probably.
kicks in for the new TV deal.
Yep.
And most people are expecting, like I said, 240, $250 million could be the cap. So this could be, if this works out for them and they get a quarterback that can play ball, they could be like, if you look at a situation like the Cowboys are going to be spending 40 million a year on their quarterback, the San Francisco 49ers could be spending 8.
Yep.
And the cap could jump up significantly to where they have all this room to just flood that thing with even more talent, and they could be dangerous. So
yeah, this is definitely a chess move, I think, for them, honestly.
Yeah. So what's interesting is you thinking, well, why would Miami, they did get Will Fuller, but you're thinking, well, they do want like one of these top pass catchers in the draft.
You would think.
And maybe going to 12, you might not get that guy there because, Detroit needs receivers, Bengals need receivers, the Eagles need receivers. Okay, so about 10 minutes after this trade breaks, the next trade breaks. And so Miami has traded again. What they did is they took that 12th overall pick they got from San Francisco. They packaged it with a 4th-round pick this year and a 2022 first round. That's next year's first that they got from San Francisco. They move that to Philadelphia to move back up to number 6, and they also get a 5th-round pick from Philly also. But basically, they took the 12 that they got from San Fran and next year's first, and then moved back up to 6. And 6 in particular is important because it gets you in front of the Lions. The Lions are pretty much, they got Goff right now. They're going to see how it works out. But the Lions lost Kenny Golladay and lost Marvin Jones. It's pretty clear that they're going to take the best receiver that they think is on their board at that spot. So it gets you in front of them. You get to pick before them.
Yes.
And they do have Will Fuller. So Kyle Pitts could be at 6. You never know. And that might be a direction they want to go. But basically, Miami, if you look back on what they did with Laremy Tunsil, he fell to him because of the gas mask bomb Twitter pre-draft thing, and they traded him to the Texans and got 1st-round picks. And then the 1st-round picks that they got from that, they traded and got more first round picks. So at this point right now, the Laramie Tunsil trade over a couple years as it played out is going to net the Dolphins 4 first round picks, a second round pick, and a third round pick. So, a lot of people are starting to say, is this like a Herschel Walker type deal? Because Miami is absolutely set up for the next few years they can do whatever they want with their team. They can take it whatever direction. And I think Brian Flores is an amazing coach, and Miami is going to be something to reckon with. The Pats are out of that division. They got to deal with the Bills now still, but Miami is absolutely on the rise.
I do think it should be acknowledged that Miami's front office has made some really fantastic moves.
Yep.
I know that they have some good guys in spots, but I think it should be acknowledged that their front office is really, if I'm honest, I think they've stepped it up because, man, like that's how you build a team right there. That's the way you build a team. That's literally how the Cowboys became a dynasty in the 90s. Get one guy, trade him away. Herschel Walker trade. Yeah. I mean, there's been movies made about it.
Okay, so on the flip side, we have to look at what does this mean for the Eagles? Because I think if you want a quarterback, you're not trading out of 6. You'd be looking to go up like San Francisco did. So
yeah, I don't think that unless they just think that everybody is going to go around and that everybody's going to take somebody who's not a quarterback and that maybe they end up with a shot at a guy. I mean, who do they think that they're getting though at that spot? I mean, do they think they're going after, Mac Jones? Do they think?
I don't think so. I think what this signifies is that Philly is rolling with Jalen Hurts.
I agree.
They're going to build for the future for Jalen Hurts because in this, they do move 6 spots back, but they swap a 4th and a 5th in this year's draft. So they get a 4th instead of a 5th. They move up there too. But they also get next year's first round pick from the Dolphins, one of their first round picks. So they're kind of probably looking here to build for the future. The Dolphins, the way it's shaking out, look like they're probably going to be picking in the 20s. They're probably going to be a pretty good team. But still, Philadelphia is kind of setting this up, I think. Unfortunately, Eagle fans, I think you're probably looking at a reload year type situation. I think they're going to get another year under Hurts, and they're really kind of, if you read into this thing, they're kind of setting this up to where 2022 they're gonna be starting to go for it again,
right?
Because they're gonna have all these top picks that they just got here from this, and we'll see who they get this year. They're still gonna get a good player at 12. So,
well, yeah, I think there's a lot of talent in this draft in general. I think they're gonna absolutely get a good pick at 12. Especially if you're not looking for a quarterback, because I do think quarterback is gonna go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So that means really, unless you're after a quarterback, which, man, let's be honest, if you're after a quarterback, the only guy that you're kind of like, who are you going after at that point? You know what I mean?
At 12.
Well, yeah, I mean at 12, like
I think
who are you even trying to get at that point?
Maybe Mac Jones, maybe Trey Lance, but the top guys are gonna be gone.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, the top guys in our minds, remember, Patty Mahomes wasn't considered a top guy.
Yeah, that's true.
The Chiefs came up to 10 and got him. The Eagles,
and there were a lot of people. There were people that said there was a stretch to get him at 10.
Yes, and they were wrong.
I think they were absolutely wrong. But
they were epically wrong.
No, but I don't think 12 is a bad position to be. I also think that really sort of rearranges my idea of what Dallas should do at 10. You and I have talked extensively about what we thought Dallas should do at 10. I think this changes it because now we know the first 3 teams are going after a quarterback, which means you're now basically 7 spots out. Now you got a lot. The board changes dramatically. You know what I mean? Like, I think that now you can kind of go, okay, well, Miami's probably going after a pass catcher. Atlanta needs help everywhere.
Detroit's going after a pass catcher.
Cincinnati really needs to go after an offensive lineman.
They probably will. I think they'll probably.
I think they probably will.
I
think at 5 they go after an offensive lineman. So, but I think you can kind of start to see this. And I think if you're the Cowboys, previously you and I talked about maybe they trade out of that. But I think now maybe you stay there. Maybe you go, hey, listen, there's going to be some people here that we like at this position.
Yeah, I don't
versus
think they can
before.
predetermine that at this point. They're gonna have to just really see how it unfolds on draft day and be on the phones because
No, I agree. I
you
do.
know,
But I think the Cowboys are really good at being on the phone on draft day.
yeah, I think they do a pretty good job, especially in the recent drafts
Yeah.
of being there. Um, I can't complain really about the Cowboys have had pretty solid drafts. They got a few hiccups here and there. Taco Charlton stands out, but that
Never
one's
a good
always
team.
going to hurt me when I'm sitting there going, take TJ Watt. TJ Watt's right there. He fell to you, TJ Watt. And then they're like,
Yeah.
Taco Charlton. Oh. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
I do still think I am curious. I think as we get closer to the draft, we're going to see a lot of these free agents that could fill like serious spots on a lot of rosters. I think we're going to start to see some of those guys get signed in different places.
yeah, it's going to happen.
Um,
Sherman's still out there. I mean,
Jadeveon Clowney's out
Jadeveon
there.
Clowney's out there.
Um,
I think Jadeveon Clowney's going to go to the Browns. Is kind of what I've been seeing, and I put him opposite of Myles Garrett, and just
I
oh
think that would be a
Lord,
great spot for him.
oh
I think it'd be a
Lord,
great spot for him. I think that he was. I here's the deal. Jadeveon Clowney has never lived up to the hype that he got coming out of college, as far as like people who aren't really. I don't want to say not paying attention. People who are paying attention to the overall game, but he certainly changes games. He is absolutely a guy who makes opponents change the way they game plan. He's a guy that certainly makes you reevaluate how you're going after it. And if you were opposite Myles Garrett,
yeah. I think
like
that's the thing because I don't think he ever developed into like the pure pass rusher that you might have thought he was going to be coming out of South Carolina. But the guy's still really good. He's still a decent pass rusher, and he's amazing against the run. And so, if you put that opposite of Myles Garrett, uh, good Lord, I would pray for the AFC North. you
he's
know,
got to face those guys. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see.
they got to have someone chase Lamar around a couple games a year. So,
He does have Sammy Watkins now, another
there
guy
you go.
who I don't know. I like Sammy Watkins. I don't think he's gonna be the. I don't think he's gonna be like a world beater up
Yeah,
there.
whatever you do, guys, make sure you have Sammy Watkins in your fantasy lineup week one because if
Yes,
you
week one. Week
go
one.
back and watch, he's about a 40. He goes for about 40 points in fantasy on week one, and then he'll have like average of 4 the rest
Yeah,
of the
he
weeks.
then like the rest of the year he may break 40 total.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
week
after
one, the
like
past couple years, week one, he's gone off for like
and then
200
like
something
2 or 3.
yards.
Isn't it 2 or 3 years now?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's gone off for like over 200 yards and like
Yeah,
multiple
he goes
touchdowns at
off
week
day
one.
one, and then it's like, and
What
we're
happened?
back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. So
So
I like talking about the Cowboys again though. Like I think this does bode well for them because the more people in front of you that are taking stuff that you don't want, like quarterbacks and wide receivers and stuff like that, that's going to work out better for you. But you kind of just have to wait till draft day whenever everything starts unfolding to see if you want to trade back because if Trey Lance and Mac Jones are still sitting there at 10, then you might start getting a lot of phone calls.
yep,
And if they make it worth it, then I think it'd be a great thing to do.
I absolutely agree with that.
You have to weigh it if Sertan is there or Pitts and Sertan or even one of the tackles, Slater or Sewell, you'd have to weigh what you want to do there because they definitely need Sertan. That would be a great draft pick for them. But
Ran what a 4.42 at the combine at pro day.
at pro day, yeah. So you can add
Yeah.
a few tenths back because it's a pro day. But he's a 4-4 guy. And
I think he's probably a 4.4 guy realistically.
yeah, he tested great at pro day. He definitely. I didn't think he could improve his stock, but I think he did. Like he's pretty much a top 10 guy. He's the best corner with Farley having surgery and everything. He's definitely him and J.C. Horn and Farley. But so the Cowboys are going to have to decide when it comes down to it. Do we take our corner right here because we want him, and our people are calling to move up? I think honestly, the way this draft sets up with the depth of it, the second, third, fourth round talent, if they can get a bunch of picks in this draft,
Yeah, I
I
think
would
so.
say move back.
I think
And
it depends on how much they're getting out of it. Yeah, I agree.
if you guys want to check it out tomorrow on my solo channel, I got the Justin Prater show on YouTube. I do mock drafts, and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. I've done it quite a few times on the mock draft simulator, where there's one of those quarterbacks hanging around, and then a team's going to say, "Hey, we want to move up from one of those teams that's in the back of the first round. They want to move up and get that quarterback, and they'll give you a second, a third, and a fourth, and their first round that they're switching with you. And if the Cowboys could pull off something like that, even if they got a second and a third plus the first, you know, that I think that'd be worth it to them because there's a lot of depth in this, and they need a lot of players. They need a lot. They got to fix a lot on defense, not so much offense, but their defense really they need as much help as they can get. And Dan Quinn, I'm sure, wants his top guys, so I'm sure he'll be heavily involved. And I think the Cowboys go heavy defense on this draft. They might take some O line depth, um, but I don't see much else on offense. I think, you know,
I don't know that you can justify a ton on offense, if I'm honest with you.
yeah, I think they're going to go. They're going to target some linebackers, DTs, safeties, corners, edge rushers, some O
Yeah,
line.
that's what I
But
mean. If you don't do that, I just feel like you're just kind of wasting picks.
you have a decision to make though. If Pitts is there,
Now I think Pitts is the one guy that stands out to me as like a potential game changer for the Cowboys. I
yeah,
think Blake Jarwin is a fantastic tight end, and I think that he will only get better with time. However, Pitts is a guy that I think makes an impact early, and I agree. You said this actually. You said he was a game wrecker, and I have to agree with you. I think that he can certainly be one of those like prototype guys that you really hope for to get in the tight end position.
yeah. I mean, he shows all the evidence of being like a next, Kelsey
Right.
Kittle type, just mega weapon at tight end. And like you sit there at the Cowboys and you go, man, we're pretty solid on offense. And we got great receivers, and we think Jarwin's pretty good. We even like Dalton Schultz, right? I mean, after he did what he did
Yeah.
this year,
He had a pretty good year.
but it's going to be hard not to take Pitts if he's sitting there because, I mean, if you put Pitts with all that, it might honestly be too much. It might just be like, who do you get the ball to? Like,
Yeah.
but that's a good problem to have. But I think they'll, if they sit there at that pick, they're probably going to take Surtain. That's my guy, I think. So,
I would think
anyways,
so.
let's move on and we'll get into some free agents real quick, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Let's see here. So, some notable people that have yet to be signed. One, I want to talk about Richard Sherman because, real quick, I think let's pair him back up with Dan Quinn, put him back on the Cowboys, get him back in that cover three, where he obviously plays his best ball. And if the price is right, he helps the Cowboys out tremendously, even at his age. I think the leadership and
I was just about to say, I think his leadership. He's definitely not a quiet leader, and I think his enthusiasm.
he's vocal, yeah.
Yeah, I think the defense could really benefit from that. I think his willingness to say, "Hey, what are you doing?" and be an on-field coach, I think would be massively important for a secondary that is not exactly fantastic.
Yeah, and we're about to have probably another safety and corner come in off this draft, I would imagine. If
And
not
if
two
not,
corners.
I mean, even if you don't get a new safety and a new corner, you're still going to have some new guys, some young guys that could really benefit from that expertise.
Yeah. So let's say they take Sertan, and then they got Trayvon Diggs. Then they got these two young Alabama guys.
Yep.
And they still got Anthony Brown, which is the old head in the room. But Cheeto's gone to Cincinnati, and you got Jordan Lewis still. Yep. So your secondary, I don't know what they're going to do with the safeties. We'll see, but their secondary is really young. And just imagine sticking a guy with all that playoff experience and that ring on his finger, and he won with Dan Quinn, by the way. So stick that guy back in that room, and I think you'll get considerably better just by putting him in the room. So,
if I'm honest with you, I think it makes too much sense for the Cowboys.
The only reason it won't make sense is if he wants, $12-15 million a year, which he might. And the Cowboys won't do that. I'll tell you
the Cowboys
that
can't do that.
But I could see him they say, hey, the TV money is going to kick in like we talked about a couple years. You come here for 2 years, 2 years, 16 million. I think they might do that.
Yeah, that's not a bad move. That's not. I think it's a good move to sign him. I really do. I think it's a good idea. I like what he brings to the table. Even if I still think here's the deal. Honestly, at this moment, I think he's good enough to be a definitive starter for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Cowboys did pick up Keanu Neal from the Falcons, and the CBS has him rated as the 54th best free agent. So I still think they need safety help, but
Ahead of Richard Sherman, by the way.
yes, actually, yes. They got Richard Sherman slotted at 65. But I think we need to also talk about Jadeveon Clowney still hanging around out there. So
Oh yeah, by the way, they plan on moving Keanu Neal to linebacker.
that's right. That's what I heard, that they're planning
He's
on
not
playing him
they're
there.
not actually planning on playing him. I think what they're trying to do is help Van Der Esch.
Well, this is the sign of the direction of the NFL, is they're going to take a guy that is
Can
not
cover.
exactly a big safety, and they're going to play him at linebacker to cover here.
Yeah.
So I think if Dan Quinn knows the guy, so I think if they think they can move him to linebacker and make it work, then that's great. But they still need they got to get a safety in the draft. So, but I like the signing. I think Keanu Neal's a good player. So Malik Hooker is a safety that's unsigned still, and he had all the clout in the world coming out of the draft, but he just can't seem to stay healthy. But the Cowboys, they love that blue star special.
They man, don't they though?
Yeah.
They do.
So let's see.
I think there's a lot of guys in this free agency class that could really help the Cowboys.
Yeah, there's a few out there, but it's going to come down to money. Oh yeah, talking about Clowney again, we kind of skipped over it, but Clowney's unsigned, and the rumors are going around that he's probably going to go to Cleveland and be opposite Myles Garrett, which is nasty.
That's terrifying.
I mean, and if the Browns have that division for the taking right now if they want. The Ravens are still there, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they should load up and go for it, because Pittsburgh is not exactly a world beater anymore right now, and Cincinnati is still young with Joe Burrow, and they better get their shots in before that team gets better. So
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I think Burrow's gonna. I think if he can be kept upright, I think he's gonna turn into a really special guy.
yeah,
I agree with your point that the Browns gotta go.
yeah, they got a window here, and so why not load up? I mean, future be damned. Go get Clowney. Eric Wilson from the Vikings is still unsigned, the linebacker from the Vikings. Russell Okung, the tackle he recently played in Carolina, but he's known for being in Seattle, and he's still unsigned. So Richard Sherman, Alden Smith from the Cowboys is unsigned. Ryan Kerrigan from the not the Redskins. No, 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 no. Ryan Kerrigan from the football team. Are they going to change that, Gordon? Are they going to change that this year?
No, they're actually planning on keeping it this year. Last I read.
Sorry ass Washington.
Actually.
Sorry. Y'all don't get used to winning the division, okay? Y'all snuck one in when Dak got hurt. Don't get used to that. Be breaking hearts all over Washington, D.C. this year. Leave me a comment if you'd like to, come at me, bro. If you want to tell me how bad the Cowboys suck and how Washington's going to win the division again, you can leave me a comment. It's all right. Okay,
So apparently, I just looked this up.
What you got, bud?
Apparently, the Washington football team is actually considering that being a permanent name. It was a placeholder. Now they're considering it being a full, an actual team name.
I don't like it. I have to say, I don't like it.
It's very bland. I can think of worse.
It's bland. I mean, just pick something.
Yeah, I mean, but they're getting to the end of the situation where they're getting to the point where they have to sort of announce a new name, and they are rebranding an entire franchise. So
it's just the football team.
I agree. It is bland. I agree with that. It is a very bland name.
Something.
I agree. I think they could do something, but
and being in the capital of the nation, there's so many options for you.
Washington getting Washington, bro.
There's literally so many options for you.
Just saying.
There's the Senators, which everyone would boo. Both sides.
As they should.
As they should. There's also, I mean, there's like anything patriotic. The Nationals have like the baseball team, the Nationals. I mean,
Yep.
it's like anything. Just pick something, guys, and pick a logo. You put your fans through enough, all right? Just give them a mascot and some new gear and some, update. I know you got your classic Redskins jerseys of the past. You don't want probably want to change that, but I mean, this is a great opportunity for them. They could rebrand. They don't have to change their colors necessarily, but they could get new jerseys, upgrade their helmets, design, and pick a cool mascot to inspire their fan base and inspire their players too. Man, it'd be cool. Sell all that merchandise. All the new Washington merchandise. It's like I don't understand. I just think it's a great opportunity. I mean, doesn't everyone's done this, right? Probably that's played Madden or NCAA. You go in and you're like, I'm going to move a team somewhere and I'm going to make them the new thing, right? You're like, I'm an expansion team. I get to pick the uniforms. I get to pick the name. I get to pick the stadium. So Washington has a chance. I know they don't want to get too far away from their history, but you have a chance that you could change your colors. You could change your jerseys.
Yeah.
You could.
There's a lot that they could do, man. There really is. But I don't know. We'll see what they do.
On it.
We'll see what they do.
But it also, as a Cowboys fan, wouldn't bother me if Washington just stewed in perpetuity for the remainder of time, either.
Stewed in perpetuity.
You like that?
Is.
You like that, don't you? That's that Burleson education right there, boy.
Flabbergasted. Johnson County at its finest.
Johnson County education stewing in perpetuity. All right. We're out of here, guys. Good talk to you.
Adios, folks. See you down the road.
Like, subscribe, follow us. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
We out.
Bye.